Good afternoon, everybody. Brian Neubert here from goldenblack.com, live in Value City Arena at Ohio State. We're back here in the press conference room as opposed to out on the floor because the sound system is on out there. Also, I'm particularly partial to this room because there's a mural on the wall of a Springsteen show I actually went to. So I feel a certain connection, I guess, with this room. But the bigger issue, obviously, is the fact that the sound system's on and you wouldn't be able to hear me. And everything I have to say for the next 8 to 10 minutes, preferably 8, obviously is the whole reason you've clicked on this video module, is to hear what I have to say. So I figured that was kind of important. Purdue loses 68-52 to Ohio State. As you're well aware, I'm sure you watched the game. Not what Purdue was hoping for, obviously, but also, it is February, and typically by February, you have a pretty good idea what a team is and what you can probably reasonably expect from them. However, in this case, I think that the fact that Purdue performed in this game like it did most of the season on the road in the Big Ten, maybe there was a little bit of intrigue in the sense that what they did at Indiana the last game maybe suggested the rare late season corner turning, the rare late season growing up, however you want to term it. My question was whether or not Purdue's higher level of focus, higher level of concentration, higher level of togetherness, whatever all went into that game at Indiana was a product of them simply kind of having that breakthrough moment, or if that was simply forced upon them by the realities of playing in Bloomington, which obviously is a unique animal unto itself when you're Purdue. Today certainly made it look like the Indiana game was the exception and not the new normal for Purdue, because all of the same trappings of the past Purdue fell into once again, from the slow start to the defensive lapses to the offensive struggles, pretty much all the greatest hits. I'm surrounded by famous musicians here, so all the greatest hits from Purdue's road struggles surfaced in this game. And, to be honest with you, this was a 16-point margin. It felt really even more one-sided than that, because I don't know if there were really a whole lot of junctures during this game where you thought Purdue was, still in it. This is what Purdue's been most of the year on the road in the Big Ten. This followed a very similar blueprint to Nebraska, to Maryland, to Rutgers, and I don't put Michigan and I don't put Illinois in that mix, because Illinois, they were bad start to finish, never had a chance. Michigan, they were competitive, they just turned the ball over too much. Had they not turned the ball over as much at Michigan, they would have been in a much better position at halftime than they were. Might have gone on to win that game. That being said, this was Nebraska, this was Maryland, this was Rutgers, where you're down 10 before the second media timeout, and all of a sudden you're playing from behind the whole rest of the game. A lot went into it, obviously. Jahad Proctor and Evan Boudreau were both really good. Jahad Proctor and Evan Boudreau shouldn't account for 60% of your scoring. I know scoring and playing well are two different things, but it just shows you that this was not a game where Purdue had a lot of guys bring their best, in a game where you need a lot of guys' best, to even have a chance. I think, Purdue needs more from its bigs. Travion Williams and Matt Harms, for whatever reason, are 3 of 10 for 10 points between them. There's an asterisk that comes with that. Matt Harms has got to finish at the rim better than he does. Travion Williams had one rim out on him. But also Travion Williams' effect on games lies, too, in his ability to set people up for open threes, open shots, whatever it may be, as a passer out of the post. Purdue did not make that shot. And that's part of Travion Williams' productivity. So his own productivity is not entirely tied to him. Purdue just really struggled to make shots in this game. They got what they wanted to a certain extent from Travion Williams, both in terms of his own looks at the basket, but also the looks he got for other people, and other people didn't necessarily take advantage. Purdue needs more from its big guys. Absolutely has to get more. Matt Harms, when he has the ball from a foot out, he's got to score that ball, clearly. Purdue needs more from its experienced guys. Evan Boudreau and Jihad Proctor are Purdue's oldest guys. They're the seniors, but they are not Purdue's most experienced guys. Purdue's most experienced guys are the guys who've played a lot of NCAA tournament games, played a lot in their careers prior to this year, those being Nojel Eastern and Matt Harms, but also Aaron Wheeler to a certain extent. Nojel Eastern's got to be better than he was, obviously, during that stretch after Purdue got within 9 when Purdue turned the ball over 3 times in 4 possessions, and also the other one was Nojel Eastern missing a jump shot that probably was not ideal offense in that moment for Purdue. Purdue just needs its veterans playing like veterans. And, Harms, when he gets the ball at the rim, he's got to score that ball. He knows that. Both of these guys know that. They just need to be better than they were tonight. The bigs have to be more productive than they are tonight. The guards have to make plays. I know Ohio State is very aggressive on the perimeter, but Purdue was just paralyzed offensively to start this game, basically. When you look at the offense they did get, it was Evan Boudreau getting tangled up, the ball squirting free, Eric Hunter picking it up and making a 3 on a scramble, and Jihad Proctor making a semi-transition 3 with a hand in his face, which is one of those shots where it's like, if it doesn't go in, do you lament it being a bad shot? I know Purdue's guards are being more aggressive, and that's really helped kind of loosen things up for Purdue a little bit, added to their productivity, the guards pushing the ball on the open floor. But that was a bold shot, and he made it. Well, my point here is that the 2 threes Purdue made early on were not necessarily Purdue getting offense out of offense by design. Purdue getting the shots it wanted and making them. It was Purdue making shots that you're probably going to miss more than you're going to make, or making something out of nothing, which was the case on the Hunter 3 after the ball kind of squirted free after Boudreau got tied up. But Purdue also, throughout this game, Purdue ran effective offense, and as has been part of that blueprint all season long, you get the ball at the rim, you don't score it, you get wide open threes on the road in an environment like this, you don't make them. Purdue got more than its share offensively of what it wants offensively and just didn't capitalize. And that's, again, it's this blueprint for these games that just eerily plays out the same way so often. This is 4 games now with almost an identical storyline from start to finish. And, Purdue is going to have to, may not have to, but I think it would certainly be a big deal if they can get at least one road win the rest of the way. And now you're down to 2 opportunities here with Wisconsin and Iowa coming up. They've got to obviously start these games better. What the answer to that is, if there was an easy answer, I'm sure it would have been implemented by now. But, Purdue just so often looks the same coming out of the locker room to start these games. It sounds so easy in theory to outsiders like myself, the majority of you. I'm quite certain that you just come out and try hard. That's it seems simple, but it's been an elusive element for Purdue outside of the Indiana game. And again, you almost have no choice at Indiana, as difficult an environment as that is to play in. I don't know if that's a choice you make or if it's sort of forced upon you. And if you don't respond in kind, you probably get your doors blown off. But Purdue just has to be way better than this. This is a game where you kind of look down here and at a point in time where you should be getting some of the best out of the majority of your guys. Really, Jihad Proctor and Evan Boudreau are the 2 guys who you really got it from. Purdue's looked more the past 2 games like December Purdue than it did the better part of January and early February Purdue, which is kind of disconcerting, but it's also the nature of the Big Ten this year where everybody's a quality team, and sometimes one quality team is better than the other quality team, particularly at home. The Penn State game, I think Penn State is just better than Purdue certainly was on that given night. But I also think, Purdue has a lot of really nice kids, a lot of really nice guys. And when you see Illinois, when you see Penn State, those dudes are killers. I mean, they are competitive, hard-playing dudes. And I think those two results, maybe amplify a certain something that might be missing in Purdue that probably isn't helpful in these first 10 minutes on the road. Whether that's a certain cutthroatedness, whether that's a certain competitive edge, whatever it may be. I've chosen to term it all year long as Purdue has a lot of nice guys, and that's good. Great kids. They're all great kids. Best I can tell. I'm not going to claim to be the expert on any one of them, but in my dealings with them and everything I understand, everything I've ever observed, all good people, all good kids. Whether or not any of them will, it's a bad example, step on you to get a ball, I probably shouldn't have said that. I hope you know what I mean. That wasn't me advocating Purdue stepping on players from opposing teams. I'm saying, does Purdue have that sort of competitive edge that you need, to win these sorts of games in these sorts of environments? For one game anyway at Indiana, and for the final 3 minutes at Northwestern, where you probably shouldn't even been in that position in the first place, given how bad Northwestern is. You don't know. You just don't know. Lots of nice kids, and I think that's a very positive thing. But I think this team, probably is missing a certain something. Where that can come from here on out, I have no idea. But I will tell you this: this is a team that has had limitations all year long. And those limitations didn't go away because Purdue won 3 games in a row. If Purdue gets to the NCAA tournament with some of those limitations, with its relative lack of experience, Purdue is not a young team. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not calling Purdue a young team. I'm saying that there is a certain lack of experience here that I think has been a huge factor in this season to this point. If Purdue overcomes all of that and at least gets to check into a hotel at the NCAA tournament at some point this season, that's a hell of a deal. I see people talking about, how do we get out of the 8-9 game? How do we get this seed or that seed? Who cares? Get to the tournament first. If you overcome all that has plagued this team this year and you still make the NCAA tournament, that is a hell of a deal. And that can be looked at from 30,000 feet as a hell of a season because things have not gone smoothly necessarily for Purdue this season. This has not been a straight line. There's been a lot of things that have worked against it, a lot of things that probably can be better on any given night, probably can't be better on some nights. If Purdue just gets into the NCAA tournament, any seed, any place, Dayton, whatever it may be, that's a hell of a deal. So the good news is Purdue still has plenty of opportunities here to do that. That's the great thing about the Big Ten this year. Everybody you play is a win that'll really help you get to that NCAA tournament. So Purdue gets back at it Tuesday night at Wisconsin. We will be there in Madison, provided there are no weather disasters this year. So that's what I got from the press conference room here at Value City Arena. This is Brian Neubert from goldenblack.com following Purdue's 68-52 loss at Ohio State. Thank you for watching. Thank you for reading. And thank you for processing our materials. However it is you process our materials. And we'll talk to you again Tuesday night from the Kohl Center. Thanks, everybody.